Hi traders, just running through what I'm looking at for the coming week. The big things that I'm looking at the coming week are some of the central bank policies and rates that are going to be announced. So we've got the European Central Bank, we've got the Royal Bank of Australia, and we've got the Bank of Canada. On Thursday, the ECB are likely to keep rates the same. However, it's anticipated that they're going to announce an extension of their quantitative easing. So I'm going to be looking on Thursday to see if there's any surprise announcements or any surprise things which we can take advantage of. The RBA, they're expected to keep rates at 1.5%, but there is some chatter that there could be a case for cutting rates. So maybe a drop from the RBA, something I'll be looking at. And the Bank of Canada are expected to keep rates at 0.5%. Almost certainly won't change, especially with the price of oil rising at the end of last week. That's supportive for the Canadian dollar. So there's no real chance of the Bank of Canada doing anything short of something crazy happening with oil prices between now and then. Maybe oil going down to about $30 a barrel. That would be a big shock, which is what was been mentioned previously, that only a big shock would change that outlook for the Bank of Canada's, and there hasn't really been a big shock. I don't think there's been some supportive action. So I'm going to be looking at four pairs particularly to trade this week. I'm going to be looking at shorting the Australian dollar, US dollar. Now I've been looking at this for a while. I'm more interested in this now. We've had this drop down on the weekly chart, and we've had a pullback into a value area, into old support, which has become new resistance. We have a sort of indecision bar here, and on the monthly chart what we have is we have a green crossing red technically on the close of the monthly bar, and you see this big downtrend, and we're just looking like we're going to be resuming that downtrend there. So that's a really clear sell signal for me. So I'll be looking to sell that on the 4-hour, 1-hour daily chart, just basically wherever I get signals on that, looking to short the Aussie US dollar. Other chart I'm looking to short is, and obviously the fundamentals are good as well, because if the Australian dollar is going to be cutting a rate and the US dollar is going to be looking at raising rates quicker than anticipated with Trump being elected, the fundamentals are just perfect for that trade. So I really like that Aussie US dollar short for all the right reasons. Now, Euro Pound, looking at continuing to short the Euro Pound. You can see on the weekly chart the prices are definitely dropping. We've had the shock from Brexit, everyone's getting over that, and the prospect of a soft Brexit with Britain paying a subscription to the European Union to maintain access to that single market. Well, I find that very appealing. I think that's something that I could see having a wide appeal to voters. I don't think it's a politically difficult sell. I think the greater danger is a hard Brexit that cuts our nose off to spite our face, cutting all ties off for Europe, which is not really what anyone wanted, particularly in Britain. The vote to exit the European Union was in some ways as much a comment on the current British political state rather than necessarily a direct question on Britain's involvement in Europe. So I think it's a very complicated question. So I think a soft Brexit with paying a subscription fee to the European Union, keep access to the single market, that's attractive politically, and that's going to be very supportive for the pound. So we could see Euro Pound continuing to drop. So I'm looking to sell the Euro Pound. I'm looking to sell it on the daily, on the here. I'll probably open with a sell this evening, Sunday. Maybe I'll probably come back on Monday and just get a slight retrace, and we want to carry on down. We're just approaching the 100 EMAs, so I might just wait a little bit. I'll come back on Monday and see how that's going to go. But basically shorting the Euro Pound weekly chart, stop above here, and we'll just try and carry on down to this region here. The other chart I'm looking at is the Pound Australian dollar. I like this, and I like this for longs. I can see a divergence in policy potentially beginning to materialize. If the pound is slightly over sold, which I think it is. I think there's more value in the pound. I think the outlook for the pound is better. That's just my view. I could be completely wrong. It's just a feeling, and I think the pound looks to appreciate. And if the Australian dollar is looking to depreciate, then that is a good reason to enter a pound Australian dollar long. And technically, you see, we've closed above this recent resistance level. Resistance now becomes support. We might have a test down at this area, but a retrace. Looking down to this area here, could pop stops just below the 5 EMA and just sort of try and run a few positions up on the 4 hour, 1 hour, even the daily chart. We'll have a look and be trying to long pound Australian dollar. And finally, I'll be looking just to carry on following the trend with a dollar yen. You know, if it isn't broke, why fix it? There's lots of fundamental reasons to keep buying the dollar. It may be looking slightly oversold, so I will be waiting to see what happens on this daily chart. You see its price is beginning to turn over. But if it turns over significantly, great. Fantastic opportunity to carry on going long. Look, the US dollar, with the surprise Trump election, he might have a strong infrastructure build-up of the US that involves a lot of spending that pushes inflation up, which in turn puts pressure on interest rates having to rise to keep that inflation down. And the divergence in policy between the Bank of Japan and the Federal Reserve lends weight to dollar yen longs. I mean, look, that's what we've been seeing, isn't it? So in all likelihood, this will continue, looking for retraces, looking to buy. So in summary, I'm looking to short Aussie US dollar, I'm looking to short euro pound, I'm looking to long pound Australian dollar, and I'm looking to long dollar yen. On top of that, I'll be looking for looking at the announcements, looking for any change or expectations in central rate rises or cuts, and looking to take advantage to that with anything that comes up in the week. Okay, traders, thanks for listening. Have a good week. If you like my videos, please hit like to the show, leave a comment, hit subscribe, and I'm a Zulu Trade signal provider, so you can always follow my trade process, trade by trade, by following me on my Zulu Trade account. The link's at the bottom of this at the bottom of this recording on YouTube. Okay, guys, thanks for listening. Have a good week. Bye.